Hello, everybody. David Clues here. So, look, we've been covering extensively after the death of Hayden Panettierre, and just in general, a lot of very dodgy, sick stuff that we and others regularly expose, especially in relation to what you might call the super rich, the rootless transnational class, people who aren't rooted anywhere but rather jet around the globe and on yachts and things like that. And these people engage in sickening behavior, whether it's in the finance houses of New York and Wall Street, Zurich, Bern, or whether it's on their yachts in Ibiza and Monaco. And it's all interlinked. It is all a web. And I just want to expose how that all works. Now, look, I understand that Virginia Giuffre was not a good person in the end. She did a lot of things that were very wrong, but she also did have a lot of bad things happen to her as well, and she was found dead, Virginia Giuffre.
Virginia Giuffre, who accused Prince Andrew of sexual assault, has died. Her family say that she took her own life at her home in Australia. She was 41. Last month, it was reported she'd been in a serious car crash. She claimed disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein and his friend Ghislaine Maxwell had trafficked
car crash, just remember that.
Her when she was 17. Prince Andrew denied all the accusations against him, but reached an out-of-court settlement with her in 2022. Katie Watson reports.
Virginia Giuffre was one of the most prominent accusers of Jeffrey Epstein, the disgraced US financier accused of running a vast sex trafficking network. Giuffre claimed she was trafficked by him and forced to have sex with the Duke of York. This photo of them together, now infamous. Prince Andrew, though, has always denied the accusations. He reached an out-of-court.
So car crash, she had a car crash and then committed suicide. In 2022, Congresswoman Jackie Walorski began working with actress Anne Heche on projects to expose child sex trafficking. August 3rd, 2022, Congresswoman Walorski dies in a car accident. August 11, 2022, 1 week later, Anne Heche also dies in car accident. And she didn't die in a car accident, which I will show shortly.
Stunning and tragic breaking news out of Elkhart County today involving the death of U.S. Congresswoman Jackie Walorski and two of her staffers who were killed in a crash earlier this afternoon in Elkhart County.
The sheriff's office says a car that was traveling northbound crossed the center lane, hitting Walorski's car head on. Zachary Potts, the St. Joseph County Party Chair, and Emma Thompson, her communications director, inside her car were also killed. The other driver died as well.
We continue to get reaction this afternoon from leaders across the state to this very stunning news. So many of them sharing their thoughts and their prayers for Congresswoman Walorski and her family. The Attorney General, Todd Rokita, sending a statement saying Jackie was a woman who stood strong in her values, cared for her family, and served Hoosiers well.
Anne Heche.
New developments into that car crash in Los Angeles, and as the driver by TMZ and Fox 11 out there in Los Angeles identified as Anne Heche. Let's take a look one more time at that video that we saw earlier this afternoon of a car going into a house taking place there out in Mar Vista.
House of Preston, and car slam.
As we can see the helicopter video there of the car in the house, you can see firefighters on the scene there taking that car out from the house. Fox 11 in Los Angeles.
Pretty burnt out car.
Said the driver went into that house and sparked a fire. Firefighters were on the scene just before.
I mean, I don't know about anybody, but I don't think anybody would be getting out of that alive.
11 a.m. on the West Coast, a car, a Mini Cooper, you can see there, went through the house, causing a massive fire. Within an hour, the firefighters, LA, was rescued, as you'll see in this next little clip.
So the driver was rescued.
Going to transition to real quick. They were taken to the hospital, as you can see there.
So there comes out basically a body completely wrapped up. That's what they're trying to portray there and depict.
Worried to get out of that car that crashed into that home. They were worried about the
So they're basically saying the person's dead. Face is covered, no sign of breathing.
Structural damage of that home as it was built in the 1950s, and you could see the house give way a little bit there in the house. So they were concerned about that, and also concerned about the person, the driver, who was identified as Anne Heche. You probably know the name from TV and movies, from 6 Days, 7 Nights, Donnie Brasco, Wag the Dog, Volcano, a bunch of movies. And there is a dramatic moment there just before being put Volcano.
Look at that. Just look at it. She's alive. They covered her airways, stopped her from breathing. She tries to escape. Look, and then look what's done to her.
And
look. No, let's try and help you, madam.
There is a dramatic moment.
She's trying to escape
there just before being put into the.
So, Virginia Giuffre car crash, Walorski car crash, Hayden Panettiere.
I was 18, even though I'd lived such a huge life and I thought I was so mature at 18, you know, scientifically, you know, her frontal lobes don't develop until we're 26. So even though I felt like I could make healthy decisions, safe decisions, I wasn't capable of being fully aware of what was going on around me. And it wasn't until I found myself in predicaments that I realized, like, my perspective completely shifted, and I realized that I was in danger. But by the time I'd realized I was in danger, I was quite literally out to sea. And it was that that moment shook me and was shocking. And I was quite literally walked down, and I had been having a great time. There was no hints of anything like that happening. So it took me, I was shocked. It took me by surprise. And it was led by somebody that I had grown to trust and see as a protector and somebody who had my back. And to be walked down, down the stairs, and it was as like a surprise, presented as though it was like a surprise. And it was this very small room, and she physically put me in the bed next to this undressed man who was very famous and had his hands like this, like this was just, an average day for him. This is something that happens all the time. And I waited for her to leave. And I mean, that lion in me, that fire in me, that my hair stood on end, and I became ferocious. I was like, this is not happening. But I had nowhere to hide. And I bolted, and I hid wherever I could think of to hide on a boat. There was no jumping off and swimming away, and there was nobody who was going to.
Again, if you notice what these people do, all the abuse, it happens on boats, because as Hayden points out there's nowhere you can go when you're on a boat, or it happens on an island, because there's nowhere you can go when you're on an island. That's why Epstein had an island.
There was nobody who was going to be empathetic to my situation, that this was nothing new to them.
I mean, it's such a hard.
So again, the thing people have to realize about Hayden is that, she was an asset. She was a tool, you would say, of the, if you want to call it the deep state. And she's been groomed for years, and I uncovered footage as well that's gone pretty big. And Hayden was involved. She was dating at the time Vladimir Klitschko, and she was taken over to Ukraine to speak during the revolution there.
A chance to make things right, to make things just. You have a right to a democracy.
So she then obviously had a baby. Baby was then taken away, sent to Ukraine. One of the names that is mentioned in all this is someone called the Diana Jenkins, who is a Bosnian. She was accused of operating a paedophile madam ring. She had a photo catalogue called Room 23, which shows many rich, famous celebrities. There's George Clooney there. In her room. Who is she? A penniless Bosnian refugee, marries one of the richest bankers in the city of London, runs in Hollywood circles with wild celebrity yacht parties. She was then on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and one of the names that's been accused of it, again, look, I'm just reporting on what is out there, is James Blunt, the English singer. And he's released a new film called, music video called Tastes Like Summer. And it says, "We eating good tonight." And in this song, Tastes Like Summer, he picks up a hitchhiker.
Hey, it's just the two of us again. It's like I'm back in 2010. God, I remember.
Your skin tastes like summer. The hitchhiking tourist is now hoodied, taken around an Epstein-esque island. I mean, I don't know whether this is meant to be funny or not. There is no saving us. He's then, the victim is then shown a menu. You can see the fear. Any of you ever heard of adrenochrome? The fear glands is meant to make the skin, the meat of the flesh taste better. Menu. Starter U. Then there's James Blunt, individual face down in the swimming pool dead. And then at the end, a younger looking James Blunt is dangerous, kisses the meat, eats it with a smile on his face. Again, I leave it up to you to decide what you're seeing there, whether that is normal in light of everything that's going on. Is it just meant to be funny? Well, if it's meant to be funny, I don't find it particularly funny. Or is it something even more sinister? Is it like Marina Abramovich with the spirit cooking? Do they really want you to know what they're doing? But anyway, look, it's a lot of women who spoke out. They're dead now. They weren't able, and there's more. I mean, we could talk about Isaac Cappy. We could talk about many more, but that's where we are today. Thank you for listening. Speak to you later. Bye-bye.